It was the year of 1787, and the deliberation of the Constitutional Convention was being held in Philadelphia. Under great secrecy, there were a lot of important American leaders there: George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin. They'd been proposing revisions to a very weak and inadequate Articles of the Confederation. As the proceeding ended and word spread out through Philadelphia that the convention had reached a final draft, the crowds gathered outside of the hall. And the answer was provided soon after they had completed their work, when a woman asked Dr. Franklin, "Dr. Franklin, what have we got? A republic or a monarchy?" With no hesitation, Benjamin Franklin responded, "A republic, if we can keep it." Speaker Pelosi told that story this last month at the Texas Tribune Festival, and I have not been able to get those words out of my mind. Those 5 simple words, "It's a republic if you can keep it," simply was not a response, but I feel it was a call to action. The country was founded by people who had the courage to board the ships and risk their lives as they crossed the ocean for a better life. And in the short 243-year history of this country, we've faced trials and tribulations that test the foundation and the beliefs of our republic. President Johnson summed it up very well in his last address to the joint session of Congress in 1969 as he prepared to return for Texas. And he said, and I quote, "In our time, we have come to live with moments of great crisis. Our lives have been marked with debate about great issues of war and peace, issues of prosperity and depression, but rarely at any time does an issue lay bare the secret heart of America itself. Rarely are we met with the challenges not to our growth or our abundance of this country, our welfare, our security, but rather to the values and the purposes and the meaning of our beloved nation. Each time our republic has faced a great threat to our meaning of the values, and there's always someone that has risen to the occasion and protected our most basic ideas time and time again. For example, in the midst of political uncertainty, George Washington solidified our democratic process by the succession of powers by not accepting a 3rd term and returning to Virginia. And on a cold night, Abraham Lincoln determined that the cost of a civil war was worth the opportunity for all men to be created equal. And during the very serious Depression, Franklin Roosevelt urged the New Deal to revive the prosperity of struggling families in America. In this moment, ladies and gentlemen, I find our nation and its values and tenets that those founding fathers established so many years ago in Philadelphia to be challenged and compromised. But I have hope. I have hope because there's always been people who stood up and have faced our greatest challenges with courage. And tonight, I have the very distinct pleasure and high honor of introducing a woman who's not afraid to look us in the eye and tell us no matter how large the obstacle or how difficult the problem, we will overcome. Her courage, her commitment to the upholding the Republic for the preservation of liberty and justice bring me hope. I've seen Speaker Pelosi's heart and soul, and it's strong, it's resilient, compassionate, and good. No one, and I truly mean no one, works harder than she does. The reason she works so hard is because she understands that the choices that are made today in Washington are not hypothetical situations. These decisions have actual impact on so many lives in America today. These decisions that Speaker Pelosi knows is a great example why ordinary people need a champion. And she's always devoted her life to preserving our nation's most fundamental creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Liberty and justice isn't dependent on what zip code you live in or the color of your skin. The notion of what brought us together when our founders set pen to paper and created not a monarchy, but a republic, to be preserved and protected by our generations. History books detail these heroes, people who have stood up and defended our country and its creed. Speaker Pelosi, your name will be indelibly written in the history books of America when our nation faced a very critical time. And you stood and fought and fought and fought to preserve this republic. I have the honor to present to you not only a great American, but a woman who America needs today as we've probably not ever needed another human being. I present to you the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Texas, I'd love that, of the United States House of Representatives, Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Speaker Pelosi, this is an honor of a lifetime for my sister and myself. As I stand here this evening, I can't help but think of a hymn that resonates in my heart. Once to every man and nation comes the moment to decide in the strife of truth or falsehood for the good or evil side. As an accident of birth, I had the privilege of a lifetime to stand behind my father when he signed the last great immigration bill into law that opened our country's shore with liberty and justice for all. I cannot speak for Lyndon Johnson in his death, as I can assure you I dared not in his lifetime. But I believe with all that is in me that he would be so proud and grateful as the Lyndon Baines Johnson Foundation and all our family is, that you are now standing with liberty and justice for all, and leading us in a time where we can remember how important it is to consider all that we have in common, not just what divides us, and pursue that goal that he cared more about than anything, liberty and justice for all.
To have, isn't this something? Can you just imagine the honor of it all, to be here with Luci and Lynda, to hear them speak about their father. I do have something I want to say about their mother later when we have our conversation. but you can see how proud she would be of the two, Lyndon and Lady Bird would be, Mr. President and Lady Bird would be, of Lynda and Luci. Thank you so much for being who you are and your great tribute. This is something so beyond my even grasp of such an honor, an award given in the name of President Lyndon B. Johnson, but also called Liberty and Justice for All, everything that our country is about. And I was thinking when Tony was speaking and quoting President Johnson's inaugural address when he said, "We must not forget in abundance what we learned in hardship." Lyndon Johnson did not. And to hear his speeches when he talked about teaching children the poor parts of Texas, we met him, Paul and I met him when we were students, and we met the vice president, and what was so outstanding to see is how he treated the little children who came up and shook hands with him. One of them said, "I'm never going to wash my hand again," after that. So I will have an opportunity in a moderated conversation to say more about this, but I do want to thank the foundation for this wonderful honor, which I accept really on behalf of my colleagues who make so much of what we're talking about here this evening possible for me as the Speaker of the House. I'm honored to receive an award that two of my colleagues, John Lewis and Jim Clyburn, have received, and I spoke when they did, and John Dingell when he received it as well. I do want to say that while we were acknowledging so many members of the House who were here, and that was pretty thrilling to see, there are members of President Johnson's House, the Senate here too. I saw Senator Whitehead, I saw Tom Daschle and Ken Conrad. For two, there may be others who are here. But as Alexandra said, he certainly was master of that House, and it's so nice that some who served then or at one time or now are here as well. So I thank Cappy McGraw and Lloyd Hand for making this evening such a wonderful success, and that is an applause line. I thank Larry Templeman, the chairman of the board, for his kind remarks and for his leadership of the foundation, and for all those who made this evening such a success for the university, for the Lyndon Johnson School of Public Service. And I thank my dear friend, Ben Barnes. I was a person who needs no introduction, but he gave me one anyway, anyway, to use his words. He has been my friend and Paul's friend for many, many years. We're in awe of him to see how he moved with such grace in the world of politics, whether it was in Texas or Washington, D.C., across the country. He gave me much encouragement along the way. And tonight he gives me this great honor of this award. I love receiving it, and I love receiving it from Ben Barnes, and that is an applause line.